Harihi Om. Today's the roots of science in Veda Vangmayam, Veda Samskruti Vangmayam. The second paper, I invite Dr. Varun Bharadwaj Karthikeyan to present his paper. And before presenting, kindly introduce yourself and then present your paper, please. Dr. Varun Bharadwaj. Is he there? Varunji? Hari Om? He was there?
Yeah, his name is still appearing in the participants list.
Yeah. Varun Bharadwaj, Mahodaya. His paper name is MARMA CHIKITSA, Potential to Disrupt Future of Medicine. Mr. Varun Bharadwaj Karthikeyan. I'm calling him.
Mahodaya, I got disconnected. Is my turn next?
Yeah, Mr. Varun Bharadwaj, are you there?
Yes, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. Mr. Varun Bharadwaj, your topic is Marma Chikitsa in connected to the present medicine systems. And please start your topic. Before that, please introduce yourself and then start the topic, please.
Apologies for the disconnection. I'll share my screen first. It says screen sharing is disabled.
Yeah, you can share the screen. Swati ji, please allow for screen sharing. Swati ji?
Still disabled.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Namaste. I have option to record, but I still need access to disable. If you can go to share screen option, enable multiple sharing. That will give me access.
Yeah. It is given.
Yes, thank you. Give me 1 minute.
Swagatam Varun, please.
Swagatam. I'm sorry I missed your introduction, but I am available now to present. Give me 2 minutes. It will take time to start sharing. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Please introduce yourself first.
Yes.
Then.
Namaste everyone. I am Varun Bharadwaj Karthikeyan. I have just completed my MBA and I've finished my BTech from VIT Vellore College of Engineering. So throughout I have been in the engineer side and recently I've just done my MBA. So how come I got interested in a topic like this? I will get to that. So despite being an engineer, I have always been interested in what Indian ethos have to offer, what our Shastras say, and whether there is scope for more information that science does not currently acknowledge. So in pursuit of that, I came across this particular concept. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
1 moment. I think the screen share is taking time. So as part of this, I came across a particular person in Lucknow who is giving free treatment to people based on Marma Chikitsa. Like this particular person, there are hundreds of people across India, which is considered naturopathy, which is not taken seriously. because it doesn't have a scientific explanation. So I try to understand and study what is the basis of this. I've also experimented a little with this and I have seen the effects. So I'm not simply saying without knowing what effect it has. However, the approach that I'm taking is that we need to prove it much more in a larger scale with a proper study so that we can confidently state that this is something that modern science currently does not understand. And this is something that Ayurveda, our Indian Shastras, have already established long back. So with this, I will begin. Let me start the slide share. Is the PPT visible, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So the topic is MARMA CHIKITSA. Some of you may not know what MARMA CHIKITSA is. You may know it in the form of acupressure. But I would argue that this is much more than acupressure, and we will first try to understand how it links back to our Indian culture and how it's actually a very important aspect of our culture, which we have forgotten. So let's begin with some misconceptions about Ayurveda. If I go out of time, please, someone may interrupt me. I have no issues. It's 11:20 right now. So in Ayurveda, Ayurveda is one thing which the West has adopted, but in the process of it adopting, it has also distorted Ayurveda in many ways. For example, the Western concept of humor, which is the Greek concept, they equated with dosha. And in the process, we are also getting confused. First of all, we need to establish that dosha is not equal to the humors, because dosha is something that creates fault in others and is faulty by itself. However, at the same time, dosha is not negative. A dosha is that which causes a change in the status quo. Therefore, if you want to change, you need dosha. Therefore, Ayurvedic perception of dosha is that the whole world is dosha. Animals are able to move because of dosha. Any movement is because of dosha. The very earth is dosha. So this particular understanding is very important. And without understanding this, when you look at dosha as just kapha, pitta, then you have an incorrect understanding of Ayurveda. This is just one example. Let's look at second aspect of Ayurveda, which is often misunderstood. Rasayana Shastra. We think rasa is just taste, but it is much more than that. Any dancer, Bharatanatyam dancer will know that Rasayana Shastra is so integral to even dance, because rasa is something beyond just taste. In Ayurvedic context, rasa is fluidity. Again, related to dosha, that fluidity is what gives you the purification or the rejuvenation ability. Therefore, Ganga is rasa because she is flowing. When she stops flowing, she will lose her rejuvenation property. Next concept, which Western science does not acknowledge, is the concept of nadi and chakra, which is integral to the practice of Ayurveda. So what is happening today is that Western science takes herbal cures that Ayurveda prescribes, extracts the component, gives it a Latin name, and then resells it and rebrands it. Basically, what it's doing is, as and when it feels like, it takes concepts from Ayurveda when it's convenient and then commercializes it. It does not respect the core tenets of Ayurveda, which is basically that of the chakra system and that of how Atma and Nadi is very important to the healing process. So when you don't respect how the Ayurvedic system, what happens is that you do not understand. Oh, PPT is only showing first slide. Slides are not moving. Okay, 1 minute. Thank you. Which slide is, are you seeing misconceptions about Ayurveda right now?
No,
PPT.
no, Marma Chikitsa
Only Marma
potential to-
Chikitsa, the first heading.
Okay, I'll stop sharing and I'll share again. Thank you. And I'm sorry for the, I'll share the screen again.
You can go ahead. Hari Om, are you there? Varunji?
I would like to apologize again for that. My apologies. I'll start sharing again. Can
Yeah.
everyone see my screen now?
Yeah, carry on. We are
Okay.
seeing
I think
you.
what I'll do is I'll stay on this mode instead of going to presentation mode. Is that okay? Because
Okay.
you can see the second slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll continue. Apologies again. Right. So the concept of grahi is another important concept. And as you might note, this is related to gravitation as well. The same concept holds. It is the affinity to grab. This is again something that modern science does not recognize, which is very important to Ayurveda. What Ayurveda says is, depending upon what you take it with, the medicine will go to a specific target location. According to modern science, there is no concept which incorporates or even understands how this could actually take place. For example, Ayurveda says, if you take the particular component with honey, it will go to the lung. If you take it with ghee, it will go to the liver. If you take it with hot water, it targets the gut, the stomach. If you take it with milk, it affects the ovaries, testes, or the vagina, basically your sex organs. So now this is an important concept of Ayurveda, which again is unexplained by modern science. Therefore, they declare this as pseudoscience. Essentially, what I'm establishing is that modern science calls anything it does not understand as pseudoscience. Therefore, it becomes very important for us to be able to demonstrate how MARMA CHIKITSA can actually function, how it works. And by showing that it works, we can prove that modern science does not understand a very important concept, which is related to our prana, which is related to our atma. So let us look at what MARMA CHIKITSA is. Now, MARMA CHIKITSA or acupressure or acupuncture, as it's currently called, is invariably associated only with China and Korea. And that is very unfortunate because the source material is actually from India. In ancient India, when Buddhists exported Buddhism to China and Korea and Japan, they took with them various shastras, they took with them Sanskrit texts, and in the process, they took with them various knowledge systems which the Chinese adapted and they learned. So when today we think acupuncture is a Chinese technique, but that Chinese technique actually comes from Varma Chikitsa. The whole idea of puncturing your body is a adaptation of that they made based on our concept of what we say in Kalaripayattu. There are 365 such points. And what do these points do? These points can be targeted to kill a person. It can be used to take away their pain. It can be used to extend their life. So the points of prana can be used to kill a person. It can also be used to heal a person. So Ayurveda's application is to help enhance a particular functionality or help heal a person, minimize pain, things like that. In Kalaripayattu or any Dhanurveda side, the application would be how you can quickly kill a person. So the applications are many. The concept is Marma Chikitsa. Yes, I will share the slides. So now there is a concept called Paida Lajin. It is very controversial Chinese technique. Essentially what it is, you can look it up on the net. That person was even put in jail because what it says is you keep slapping the body, and as you slap the body, the negative aspects will come out and then you push that out of your body. Again, it's a distortion of the same Marma Chikitsa concept. Some person died because of this, so they put him in jail. Just imagine, so many people die after using chemotherapy. Do the doctors go to jail? No, right? Yet for some reason, everything is viewed with a jaundiced eye if it's something that modern science does not understand. So as far as modern science is concerned, all this pressure point, it makes no sense. There is no scientific explanation. Therefore, If anything happens incorrect in the process of application of this technique, they will very quickly declare that it is a fake or it is a incorrect procedure. So now let's go back to where else Marma Chikitsa links back. So the concept of Shodhana, which is the process of cleaning the body, and related to this concept of Abhyanga. So this is again commercialized today in India. Kerala has very successfully brought in the concept of exotic detoxification, where they will apply oil massage. What is this? This oil massage is essentially you are massaging various parts of your body. Again, indirectly, Marma Chikitsa's application is there. So here, Shodhana, Abhyanga is indirectly using Marma Chikitsa, even though we do not recognize that we are utilizing its concept. So here, Shuddha doesn't actually mean your purification. Again, Shodhana's concept in Ayurveda is that you are incomplete, and by becoming complete, you become in natural harmony. So Shodhana is the process of becoming complete. It's not the process of purification. Anyway, so now let's go to where are Shastra's sources from which we can trace our roots back to Marma Chikitsa. Sushruta Samhita has 7,000 plus verses that have survived, and it's divided into 186 chapters. It describes more than 1,000 plus diseases and identifies 700 plus medicinal plants and various medical preparations. Sushruta Samhita describes 107 Marma points in the body. Note that Kalaripayattu prescribes 365. Sushruta says 107. Some Tamil texts say 108. So again, this is also attacked by a lot of rationalists. They say that you have multiple. They use a concept called meridian, because initially this was identified through the Chinese medicine, so they call it the meridian system. So therefore, they have attacked the meridian system, basically saying that there are innumerable number of meridians. If you see one text, it says this number, another text says some other number. So the explanation is very simple. There are 7 chakras, energy centers in our body, and they are important, 7 important Marma points. But out of them, minor points radiate out of your hand, out of your legs. So technically, there is an infinite number of points. So if, depending on how specifically you're able to target it, press it, or apply it, accordingly, different texts would be able to identify either 107, 108, or 365. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Let's go to Charaka Samhita. It is the oldest source of Ayurveda, and it is divided into 8 sections and has 120 chapters. It includes both humans and animals in describing their anatomy and even reproduction, involving description of embryo development. Patanjali Tantra is also another very important text for where you can see some traces to Marma Chikitsa. Now let us go to what some of the texts actually say. I am going to the next slide. Please confirm Charaka Samhita slide is seen.
Yes.
All right. So let's look at one stanza. Hita hitam sukham dukkham ayustasya hita hitam manam cha tacha yatrottamayurvedah sa uchyate. What it says is, ahitam here means damage, hitam is welfare or beneficial best way. Swastha is healthy, and pathya means the path or the rightful way. So essentially what it's saying is that the knowledge of happy, unhappy, healthy, and unhealthy living is called Ayurveda. This is the definition we should be using. We should stop accepting this concept of Ayurveda being naturopathy, being herbal remedy, because Ayurveda itself is defining itself as more than just treating diseases. It is the knowledge of being happy. It is the knowledge of being unhappy. What makes you healthy? What makes you unhealthy? It's actually the knowledge of how to live your life. So it is much more than just what health science is. Yes. So both those of you who are asking for contact, yes, I'll be happy to share this information. I believe this needs to be spread much more. All right, continuing. So let's look at the next stanza. Charaka Samhita again, Sutra 142. Sharirendriya Sattvatma Sanyogo Dhari Jivitam Nitya Gaschanu Bandascha Paryayai Rayura Yuruchate. It's Ayuruchate and Paryayai. So the Sandhi I have not done correctly there. My apologies. So what it's saying here is the body has the ability to rebuild itself. This is a very important concept of Ayurveda, which modern science does not recognize enough. For example, according to Yogasana and Ayurveda, we believe that if you have a tooth cavity, your body has the ability to heal itself. What is modern science approach? It will do root canal treatment. Why? It will remove. There's a complete difference in the approach. Indian system believes that if you allow your body to heal itself, if you allow it to heal, it can heal anything. Modern science approaches intervention. Okay, you are having cancer, we will put some radiation on you, or we will insert something into you, or we will remove your leg and we will put a plastic replacement. Of course, Ayurveda, in Indian science also we have plastic surgery, all that is there. But we try to first give chance for the body to heal itself. And that is a fundamental difference between the Western approach and the Indian approach to science. So what it says is the body has the ability to rebuild itself. After death, life continues in another body, and hence this binding of Atma with Sharira in the current state is called Anubandha. Thus, in Ayurveda, the idea of Atma and Sharira and the binding is a very important concept which Western science does not even recognize. So this stanza highlights the aspects of Ayurveda which are dismissed as metaphysical and not grounded in science. But yet this understanding is primordial in our understanding of how Marma Chikitsa works. Next slide. I hope this slide is visible, reclaiming acupressure. So, as I've already mentioned, we are right now facing selective IP theft of herbal remedies by the West whenever it's convenient for them. They suddenly find turmeric is nice, they will appropriate it if they can. They find something is good, they will take it. But at the same time, if you ask them what is Ayurveda, they will say it is not a complete science. It is not to be trusted. You should not use it if you have a serious disease. So let's define Marma as how it is often defined as vital points of prana that when you stimulate, it activates your lymph nodes and improves the immune system and general health. Now, this explanation, some people might accept. However, this is not exactly the right approach because the actual definition would be there is a nadi or the energy channel that radiates from and outside of your body through the chakra. It cuts across nervous, muscular, and skeletal. Therefore, Kundalini Yoga and Ayurveda form a direct link. This second definition, a lot of rationalists will not easily accept because they cannot measure nadi, they cannot sense it. Therefore, they will say this is metaphysical concept. But I would argue that by calling Marma Chikitsa as a neuromuscular and orthopedic science, you are doing a disservice to Marma Chikitsa because it is much more than just a pressure point system. It is tapping into something much bigger. So in India, there is already many centers of Marma Chikitsa. So what I had mentioned as Sujok, which is considered a Korean system, is essentially in 1987, Professor Park Jae-woo established that the human hands and feet have replicas of the entire body. So basically, he found that by different pressure points in your hand and your feet correspond to your entire body. So pressing them will have various therapeutic effects. In 1995, taking this concept forward, in Prayagraj, a center was formed called ASPEUS, which is basically Acupressure Shodh Prashikshan Center, Sansthan. So this particular center, every year it takes in students who basically learn the Korean method, the TCM, the traditional Chinese method, and they also learn a little bit about the Indian, what Charaka Samhita, all those say about Marma Chikitsa. So right now we do have some centers. However, what I'm saying is that it is still only considered as naturopathy. We need to bring it to the mainstream and we need to prove this in a way which modern science is forced to acknowledge. And for that, I have a proposal. So let's first look at another stanza from Charaka Samhita. Khadi Yatma Manaha Kalo Dishascha Dravya Sangraha Sendriyam Chetanam Dravyam Nirindriyama Chetanam. So what it's saying is, here the concept of Dravya is introduced. Basically, the Dravya are classified based on the presence of Indriya. If a Dravya has Indriya, then it is called Chetana. That particular Dravya has a consciousness. If the Dravya does not have Indriya, it is classified as Achetana Dravya. And there are Dashopati, 10 origins to these Dravya. And accordingly, we number them. So 0 is Tam, which you can consider as grounding or base. 1 is Akasham, 2 is Vayu, 3 is Agni, 4 is Jal, and 9 is the polar opposite, right? So essentially you have 10 points. So I'm only highlighting these because it is relevant to the proposal that we have. Now, Garbha Upanishad also says the body's hardness comes from Prithvi, the fluidity from water or apaha, radiance from teja and fire, mobility from Vayu, and Akash from spatiality. Now, if you ask a rationalist, they will say that this is complete metaphysics because it's not possible for your body to be made of this. However, we need to recognize that this is representative of something. And that representation, let us take in the form of these points 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 9. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide and see how we are applying this. Now I'm taking the concept of hair rejuvenation, something which a lot of people nowadays are worried about. So let's look at how we can apply. This is my left thumb that you see in the slide. That is a tape and those are magnets. Now the yellow is the North Pole, the white is the South Pole. So if your north is facing up, basically it diminishes the power of that particular MARMA point. If the South Pole is up, it enhances the point. Now I have already explained what 1, 2, 3, 4 are and 9 are. Now let us look at the nail bed. So as you can see, we have my left thumb, and essentially there are 10 Dravya points, 5 of physical origin, like Garbha Upanishad mentioned, the Akash, Prithvi, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, and 5 of metaphysical origin. That is Kal, Disha, Icha or Manas, Paramatma, and Atma. Therefore, these 5 plus 5, 10 together are spread throughout your body, and they, if Marma Chikitsa is right in what it's claiming, activating these points should have some effect on your body, right? So let us try a scientific experiment and see whether there is something that happens. So now, according to Marma Chikitsa, left thumb is the Atma, right thumb is the Paramatma. So now let us target the left thumb, and on the nail bed, you place the magnets in the positions shown. Now, what are we doing here? Assume your hair is like a tree and your scalp is like the soil. So now, I hope I'm audible. So with that notion in mind, let us look at what we should be doing. We want to enhance Akash to expand the hair follicle. Basically, as was highlighted earlier, Akash is for spatiality. So you want to enhance the spatiality of the hair. So you are enhancing that particular point. Second, we want to diminish Vayu because we want the hair to be stationary. We don't want it to get uprooted. So the polarity to diminish Agni because we want to reduce the dryness of the scalp and we want the soil to be nourished and not parched. The soil here is representative of our scalp. Next, we enhance Jal. We want fluidity, cohesiveness in the sprouting of new hair follicles akin to watering our plants. And we enhance thumb, which is the opposite. So we like the polar, like we do a electric pole to attract lightning. If thumb is 0, 9 will be the polar opposite. Now apply this for, let's say, 1 month. You will see a difference. But the problem, of course, is who's going to keep doing it for 1 month, which is why we'll come later to the proposal, how we can prove this effectively on a large scale as a scientific experiment. So now let's confront the reality of skeptics. Let's look at how the slapping technique has been perceived by the West, which is a Chinese technique they call. Much like chiropractic, homeopathy, and many other alternative practices, slapping therapy is a modern invention supposedly born of ancient ideas. See, the problem here is Western approach only respects patents. They do not respect the Guru Shishya Parampara model. So even if a person says that this is my guru and this particular knowledge has been passed on since the BC era, they will ultimately only say that this particular person started this practice. They will name their most recent person and they will date the particular practice to that, which is what they're doing here. So they're calling it a modern invention, right? So let's take an example at Hyderabad itself. There is a particular family which distributes fish prasadam in the month of June for asthma patients. According to Western science, there is no cure to asthma. They recommend a spray treatment, and that creates a permanent dependence of the body towards the spray, and this is called the asthma paradox. It's a condition where the treatment inhibits mast cell degranulation, causing increased inflammation and chronic manifestation of asthma. So you use the spray, you keep using the spray the rest of your life. This is Western science's approach to asthma. Now a family is basically having a cure and people are getting cured of it instead of looking into whether there is something Western science doesn't understand. How do people respond? There are NGOs which are trying to stop this from happening. This has been going for many years. There's one which is claiming that children should not be administered because they're not recognized by WHO, right? So this is an example of how people react to what they don't understand. On 15 March 2021, many members of the IMA, Indian Medical Association, announced a mass petition against the Central Council of Indian Medicine's notification that authorized postgraduate practitioners of specific Ayurvedic systems to be able to perform general surgical procedures. These people don't seem to understand that Sushrita period itself, we've been doing plastic surgery, right? So they are shocked at the idea that someone from Ayurveda will be performing surgeries. So this is the kind of mentality that we are faced with, which means if we are going to make a claim, like for example, I'm making a claim that this works, we need to be able to show it very effectively. So how will we do that? This is my proposal. Ayurveda is a complete medical science by its own right, but its image is that of merely just a herbal treatment for non-severe ailments. Many of us may have already faced this. If let's say you have a disease and you've tried Ayurvedic approach first, and then you go finally to Western doctor, they will say, why did you waste time? Why didn't you come to us directly? This is a very standard dialogue which you might hear. So therefore, I am taking the example of male pattern baldness, which I believe has become a major epidemic in India today and also the world. So one thing is that Indians have stopped wearing turbans. When you're wearing turbans, who cares what your hair looks like? And previously we used to completely tonsure our head, so it didn't matter. So when you're roaming around completely with just choti, it doesn't matter what your hair status is. But now we grow our hair and suddenly a lot of people are insecure. Multiple reasons for this: lifestyle changes, increased obsession with physical looks, all this is contributing. And there is a very big market for this insecurity. So let us look at how Westerns have approached this so far. Finasteride is a chemical compound sold under the brand name Propecia. Propecia is known to cause depression, yet it continues to be prescribed for men who are balding. Since 2011, USA has reported more than 700 reports of suicide and suicidal thoughts from people who are prescribed Propecia or generic versions of the oral drug by the company Merck. This is documented. Yet, we continue to prescribe this, despite it being a flawed solution. So this global alopecia drugs, despite these problems, have a market value of $2.81 million in 2015 and grew to $3.59 billion by 2020. Now, some of you might be aware, COVID is known to cause a lot of hair loss. So I am pretty sure now this number will be even higher after 2022, but I do not have this number at the moment. Now, another drug which is used is minoxidil. Some of you may be aware. It accounts for 70% of this market segment. And minoxidil also, how does it work? The minute you stop using it, your hair loss will be amplified. How is this not a dependence? And how is this a proper solution? Yet this will be prescribed to you by a doctor. This is the kind of solution that currently exists for hair alopecia and for hair loss. This is the status of Western medicine today, which is why I am saying this is the ample, perfect opportunity for us to prove MARMA CHIKITSA as being superior. And in the process, by proving it is superior, we will also be able to establish that the concepts of prana, nadi, chakra are in fact important, because without that, the concept of MARMA CHIKITSA makes no sense. Modern science cannot explain MARMA CHIKITSA. There is no concept or no logical explanation you can give for why magnet putting on a thumb will help you regrow your hair. And thus, my proposal is this. We cannot disrupt the status quo by retrospectively identifying science in Sanskrit texts. That is already established by Western science. So one approach is we look at what our texts say and say, okay, see, already in our ancient past, this particular aspect that Western science has acknowledged is also there in our text. Another way of approaching this is there are concepts which Western science does not understand, which we need to prove to them that actually they do not understand. So this is where I am bringing in MARMA CHIKITSA as a potential to change the way Ayurveda is viewed across the world. So what is a quasi-experimental design? This is my last slide. Yes, I'll be sharing this slide. This is my last slide. I hope I haven't gone beyond time. So quasi-experimental design is often used in marketing experiments. So let's say you want to market a product to a population. What you will do is you will take a group of people, random people, allocation of subject. For some of them, you will give them the product. For some of them, you will not give them the product. And then you will compare and see whether there is any significant difference between the two products. So this is how most marketing is done, how most research is done. Let's say if someone wants to try a product, they will check and see how the market responds. So this is an acceptable method. And I'm proposing that we use this method to help validate the efficacy of MARMA CHIKITSA for hair. So there is a concept of internal validity and external validity. So simply documenting cases of patients seeing improvement in their hair volume, quality, and hairline recovery cannot be used as proof, in my opinion, because let's say, for example, there are existing doctors, right? So like I mentioned, there is the person in Lucknow who is providing free care. So many people's hair she has helped. Now, the problem is this cannot be used as proof because there are multiple factors which affect your hair. Ultimately, your hair is an outcome of your internal health, which means your diet affects it, other supplementations, your lifestyle changes. All this can be attributable to any hair loss or hair gain. So when that is the case, simply documenting cases of people who are coming to these acupressure people, MARMA CHIKITSA doctors, and then showing that as proof is not enough. We need a scientific study. And what I'm proposing is that you have Vipassana centers where people meditate for about 1 week without any access to mobile or anything. That's an ideal period where for 7 days or for 10 days, you keep applying this particular tape and the magnets. So we'll divide the entire group into 2 parts. Those who are attending the ashram, basically, some of them will get a placebo. Basically, they will get the yellow and white magnet, but it actually is not a magnet, right? And they will not know that. They will be taped every night before they sleep. And they will be part of the Vipassana center where they do the meditation or they stay away from mobile. And we document their hairline at the start of the Vipassana center and at the end of the Vipassana center, right? So we can create subgroups like this. One group, we can even change the orientation of the polarities of the magnet, which technically should mean hair loss will happen instead of hair gain. So here in this case, we can have another study where, let's say, if there's any ashram retreat. Nowadays, one advantage is that, work from home concept has happened. So a lot of IT professionals are now sitting in their homes. If we can attract them to an ashram retreat for, let's say, 3 weeks. So in that ashram, we are providing them food, we are providing, and we are controlling their lifestyle. So a lot of those extraneous variables, right, which add doubt to the result that finally occurs, we are now controlling. So we're controlling the variable factors. We are ensuring these people are in an ashram. We give them Wi-Fi access so they can continue to work on their various IT jobs, right? And then we basically apply this on their thumbs every night, and we divide it. So it's a blind test. Basically, the people who are getting the application do not know whether they are the placebo or whether they are the ones actually getting the treatment. And we document their hairline at the start of the week and after this end of the 3 weeks. This will conclusively help prove in a way which is possible for us to show that MARMA CHIKITSA works. And in the process, we will be able to bring to the question the fact that something which modern science cannot explain is working. And in the process, we can bring in a lot of questions to modern science regarding things that they have dismissing so far. With that, I would like to end. So essentially, I am not only talking about MARMA CHIKITSA, I'm also giving a proposal of how we should take it forward. So if we want to bring this into educational curriculum, we can make this a field study test for students. We can make this like an activity at the end, basically saying, can you conduct this at your village level? Can you document this? Can this be a research paper that you submit in an, in an Indian journal? So some actionable item. With that, I am ending this. Any questions? And yes, I will.
Excellent speech. It's an excellent opportunity for the people to interact also, and it's a knowledge that is to be explored. And why not you? My question is, why not you take to Ayush? Ayush, have you taken this to Ayush?
Yes, so Ayush recognizes MARMA CHIKITSA, but I am saying that Ayush is not using it to the potential it should be using. Essentially, it is viewing it just as a acupressure.
Have you taken the proposal to Ayush?
No. This is the first place that I'm sharing the proposal. It's only to all of you that I have given the proposal.
Very good, excellent to us. Giving the opportunity for us to expose it. Dhanyawada. So now I suggest you go to Ayush also and send to PMO also. That is better.
Mahodaya, if you can guide me, because I'm just a student, I just passed out.
Sure,
so if you can guide me how the best way would be, I will be happy to do so.
Can I say
We'll
something?
try to do that. Now,
Yes.
any more questions, please?
Sir, I have one question.
I have a suggestion.
Yes, yes. So the point here is Vipassana is based on Buddhism. I just give it as an example. Basically, in Vipassana center, a person is, you have control over that person for 1 week. That was my example. So let's say we have an ashram. So in that ashram, you bring them for 3 weeks, give them Wi-Fi access, basically try to target all the IT people so that they can keep working, right? So the idea is that we should be able to control the food they take and the lifestyle that they're having. This is to ensure that questions aren't raised later. See, if we just treat them in a clinic, people will say that there could be other factors which influence their hair fall, or and like I mentioned, Marma Chikitsa is a slow process. Everything in Ayurveda is a slow process. Now let's say, for example, you prescribe them that they apply, but they don't apply, and then after 3 weeks they say, oh, it didn't work. Now all this will affect your data. So if you're recording the data, it will affect your results, right? So if we yes, Ratnam. Yes. That is Jeera seed is also related to this. Yes, it is related to Marma Chikitsa. So these concepts are spreading indirectly, but we are not acknowledging it as a Marma Chikitsa, and we are not trying to push it forward as a formal system, which can actually disrupt multiple aspects of Western medicine. Okay, a lot of questions are there.
I have a suggestion. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Yeah, so you must be aware that the Prime Minister is actually encouraging, alternative medicine as it is called today. And I also have been reading in some places that Ayush, for reasons best known to them, are really not doing as much as they should for various aspects of alternative medicine. So I think maybe one of the ways that you could think of is to try and reach the Prime Minister's office directly, because then again we see a lot of examples where things do get moving and move very quickly, so that it becomes it gets disseminated the way it should get disseminated, and then the impact the way you want it can happen. It's just a suggestion.
Thank you, Kalaman. And I think the reason why Ayush is not working as effectively, again, I think I didn't, I talked about it in the paper that I submitted, but not in the PPT. We are making, in my opinion, we're making a mistake by, in Ayush, homeopathy is also there. And I think we're making a mistake by clubbing homeopathy with Ayurveda, because they are two different systems. Homeopathy may be naturopathy, but its origins are in the West. So its approach is slightly different. And what happens is that homeopathy steals the thunder. If you go to North India, a lot of homeopathy clinics will be there, right? But we are unable to distinguish between homeopathy being different from Ayurvedic treatments. They have different approach. So I think there is too many things are combined in Ayush. So that might be why the progress is slow. That would be my opinion.
Sir, I am.
Very nice.
Sir,
But
I have.
1 second. So, Mr. Subramanian sir, Subramanian sir.
Namaste, sir. I'm a MA student in University of Hyderabad. I am doing my 4th SEM. We are reading an advanced course in Ayurveda as a part of MA Sanskrit.
Okay.
So we were taught the principles of Ayurveda. Actually, one point I want to make regarding Marma Chikitsa. Marma Chikitsa is not taught as a subject in Ayurveda at present, but there are experts in Kerala, it seems, who are doing this Marma Chikitsa. Only some people are willing to part the knowledge, some are not. That is one thing. And this Nadi Pariksha is not part of Ayurveda. Only people who have experience, they are doing Nadi Pariksha. Some surgeons will approach them, Ayurvedic people, and trying to learn. But is not accepted as a Pariksha.
Noted, sir. So like you mentioned, I think that's why we need to document. And I think the using it for hair is a very effective way, because I think one person asked, how will you measure? So how you measure is, there are multiple ways. So you will be taking photograph before, when the person is entering the ashram, right, for the 3-week retreat period. So you could conduct Bhagavad Gita class, anything. You could conduct something for the 3-week period, give them Wi-Fi access. At the start of the day, you measure their hair volume. Basically, you can bring in a trichologist for this. There's no harm. Bring in a trichologist, let them document how in any place it's documented. Where is the hair line? Where is the hair volume? And then over time, you keep taking photographs and measure the density and observations after a week by week, right? And then nobody knows who is getting the placebo, who is getting the actual treatment, who is getting the reverse polarity treatment, right? So I think some people will be upset about getting reverse polarity. So in that case, maybe we will have to have a separate experimental design where they have to sign a document where we are okay losing some hair, right? So if they lose hair, we are actually succeeding in proving our point. So reversing the polarity should cause hair loss. Putting it in the correct polarity should help increase hair.
Mahodaya, Sadvidyaranda Mahodaya. Mahodaya, please to speak.
Yes.
Sadvidyaranda
sir.
ji. Sadvidyaranda ji, please.
Namaskaram, Varun.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Very
Namaskar,
well
namaskar.
presented. Hello, can you
Yes,
hear
yes,
me?
please tell me. I'm having some net issue. Please tell me.
So very well presented. I have 3 suggestions for you. One thing is that don't go to the government, Ayush, because there are a lot of politics going on there. Second thing is that those who are hello.
Yes, please continue, ma'am.
Then the second thing is that there are certain Ayurvedic karma chikitsa are there. So you approach the people, those who are totally following Ayurveda only, and approach them and then see how you can combine this idea with them. So go personally and based on the institute only. Third thing is that all these things requires time. So as you are telling that we give certain chikitsa to people, but then they don't follow the instructions. So best way to do this is that they have to be there in the center for 10 days, 15 days to get the treatment. That's the way we can get the proper data and collections of the data, because until unless they are with us for 10, 15 days, it's impossible to collect the data and present it to people. So I know certain people, certain chikitsalayas, that's what they do. They don't give any medicines at home. They tell people directly that you have to be here for 10, 15 days, take the medicines, take the treatment, and then go back. So that is what approach we have to have.
Ma'am, so I have 2 things to say. First of all, regarding the clinics you mentioned, could you please, I would love to connect with you and basically get to know where these centers are. What I mentioned in Lucknow, right? So my information inputs are, or rather my exposure comes from the ASPE-US, which is in Prayagraj. Like you mentioned, those people are teaching not just MARMA CHIKITSA, they're also teaching Chinese medicine. So you are right. We need to focus on what our Shastras say without getting confused by what other inputs are. At the same time, I believe Chinese medicine, very smartly, they have well documented what we have forgotten. So we should actually study what they are saying, and we should use that to fill in the gaps which is present in our understanding of MARMA CHIKITSA, is what I would say.
Correct.
And regarding a lot of questions are coming on the chat. And as you mentioned, you're right. I think 15 days is not enough, ma'am. I think we need much more because it is a slow process. Most people may not see enough significant change. So I need to see how these clinics are handling it for 15 days. However, what I believe is having something like a combination or coordinated effort between ashrams, which are able to take in people for, let's say, Bhagavad Gita program or some kind of retreat. And those 3 weeks are also used for a blind study. The thing is, we don't want to inform the people that they are getting studied, right? They should not know whether they're getting a treatment or they're getting placebo. That is very important to establish the scientific validity, internal validity of what we are trying to achieve. So for that reason, I gave it to, I think Rajgopalan sir wants to say something.
One second. Then Rajgopalan, please. And there are 2 more are there.
Okay.
And
Karthikeya, excellent.
Yes.
Congratulations. As a young boy, you have done a wonderful job, wonderful being a R&D person from the engineering side. So I would like to touch upon 2 points. What you have said, that the about the oils, if you know that you have studied Ashtanga Hridayam, which is also a part of the CHIKITSA, wherein there is a Taila Varga itself is the separate system, the group of oils which has been told about this one, wherein they say Tailam Swayo, Nivartam, Mukyam, Tiksham, Vyay. See, if you see there, they are highlighted what is the use of the oil, massage oil usage, whether intrinsically or extrinsically also. For over those points, the same oil, gingerly oil, can lead to the kapha, which is not increases the which is not increased. At the same time, it can have the different guna at different places. So that you keep in mind when you are taking the sample population. And one more thing I would like to touch upon is that as a Ayurvedic person, which I am studying in with respect to science and technology only, my work is going on that one. I'm thinking on that one. There is a dravya classification, what they are then Karana dravya and Karya dravya. As somebody Ayurvedic person who's learning also, you are studying. So there's a separation. Murta dravya, Amurta dravya. Then the Karya dravya goes to Srishti, Sharira, Indriya, and Vishaya. Here what happened? Anu Parimana. See, the question is that the Parimanam, when it comes the quantity, that also has to be taken into account when you are dealing with any of the population for evaluation of the any results. Now, third point is that you being a scientific person, engineering person, you know very well that the data population, when you are taking the random sample, you have to be a randomized sample. But for that, the normalization of the population is very essential.
Correct.
So, if you don't do normalization, just like in our, because I am with a space data scientist, so wherein we have to normalize almost all the parameters, bringing to the, see, you know very well, since you are a mathematician, I can explain you. We have to use the eigenvalues theorem. You put it A minus lambda is equal to 0, and a lambda can take the lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, or factor analysis you can attempt, by which you can normalize the factor. You take the prime eigens, which will have the 97 to 98% population, and the later one, what eigens, lambda n and lambda n minus 1, which have the least population. But in our research side, we generally omit the tails. But what I want to suggest to you is that never omit the tails, because the tails are the one, the terminals, the artifacts, the terminals, means the extending part of the sigma values. They are the most important for deciphering something abnormality in the system. So by just removing the artifacts, removing the tails and everything, we are actually bringing in the biasness into the system. So the sample population, what you are going to take, first, have the age parameter, food habits, nutrition values, health, age, everything has to be normalized. Number two, they have to be in the same parameter environment with a similar food habit. When you normalize all these parameters, then only your treatment, what you are envisaging, that effect of that one can be identified. Again, it goes in the Anu Parimana. The Parimana also you should decide whether I will go with this much of treatment for this much of time. That is, as you say, you can very much understand. We are in science also, we talk in space science. There is beyond XYZ, there is something called a T coordinate. That T coordinate is very important when you are dealing with the human being for the growth and decreasing of this one. XYZ may be there, you are normalizing all the parameters, but T coordinate, how much you are going to give the weightage, how you are going to consider, that also you give. And for last one, which you said and someone has suggested, without the knowledge of some person, if you are going to do, you will land up in jail. I'm telling you, because you are interfering with the human rights and that too with the body. Fortunately, in India, we don't have that right. If I was there in Australia and other places, almost all the foreign countries, my son-in-law was a doctor. Even if you give instead of 10 mg, if you give 20 mg, your license will be cancelled there. So the rights are different in different countries, but please don't take it for granted. You always brief the person, take him into confidence. Instead of giving an unknown person without briefing him, without telling him, if you go for the medication, you will nothing will happen. It may not be result, some failure may not be because of your treatment. It may be because of something else also. But you will be put in problem, and nobody will save you in Indian court because they are not having any knowledge of this MARMA CHIKITSA or any of it, and they have a very bad opinion about these type of medicines.
Correct.
So what is my opinion is that yes, population, normalization of the time coordinates, space coordinates, region. A person from Himalayas will behave differently with the same for the same treatment from compared to a person from Tamil Nadu. So tropical climate, climatic has to be done. That is what in Ayurveda says. Besides this dosha, You have to give importance to the zone, condition, and type of body a person is being treated. The same treatment will not hold true. So the normalization of the things has to be there. This has been very well. I'm not remembering immediately the sloka. This Charma Chikitsa, by not by name, but by a sloka, it has been given. When all the system of Ayurvedic treatment fails, there is a method which is adopted wherein even if this beating or giving something abnormal treatment is part of the Ayurveda. If in Tamil Nadu, possibly you may be knowing Sholinganallur. I'm a Tamilian, so I'm telling you, Sholinganallur, if you go, there are many type of psychosomatic disease cases who come there in the temple praying that Lord Devi, they give the beating with the neem leaves, with some other things, or trashes, beatings, everything, and they get cured. You have a very good sample case if you want to go, because they are in a desperate condition. So they will yield to your request. They want their patients to be cured of this one, where they failed with all the allopathic, everything. So in Solanginallur, you go, Lakshmi Narasimha temple is there. There you will find all these things. So in Tamil Nadu, it is easily accessible. Why I'm telling all these things? Medicine, outer medicine or inner medicine, whatever you deal with it, please be very, very, very careful, and you follow the IRDA rules, the IPR acts, then in Human Rights Acts, everything you take into confidence. Then with the full confidence, signature by the patient with their parent signature, only you can take a sample, and that sample should be a very, very valid and extrapolative. Because I don't
you
want
very
a
much.
young person like you
Thank-
should get into any trouble. I am
Yeah,
there
understood.
for your complete multivariate and Krieger type of analysis of the variance and everything with respect to the statistical data of the this one. I can help you in all those things. There's no problem. And normalization of the parameter, you use the concepts of OR concepts, because since possibly you may be knowing about operation research concepts and AA concepts where you normalize it. Okay,
Yeah.
you can take all the things.
You can have a direct contact to Rajgopalanji and have them further advice on this.
Very
Then
nice.
now Vivek Gargji. Vivek Gargji, please put your point. Vivek Gargji. Vivek Gargji, please put your point.
Akila ji, namaskar. Akila ji, namaskar.
Very short questions, please.
Yeah.
Time is out.
Varun ji, you are doing a very nice job. And one thing I want to ask you, hello. I'm in disturbance in between from the members.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Continue.
Varun ji, there is a one case, there is a one peculiar case of my friend who is living in the Allahabad Prayagraj. She's suffering from the ectasia. Her neuron cells are dying. And in the few years, she will be handicapped. Her brother also died. Her father and brother both are died. This is a genetic disorder. Can we treat her from the MARMA CHIKITSA? She's living in a Prayagraj, Allahabad.
Vivekji, I'll be very honest. MARMA CHIKITSA, the effects are slow. So there's a very good chance she will see improvement, but it will not cure her. So I'm going to be very brutally honest. And that's the reason why eventually people try Western solutions, right? So first,
but there is no solution in the whole world. So and the second thing,
if there is no solution, I think since she's already in Prayagraj, she should approach ASPEUS, which is the center where they are already teaching all this.
Can you send me your email ID so I can contact?
Sure. I think if all of us are on,
I can share with you.
Yes,
Vivekji, please. I can share with you, please. You please give a message to me.
In fact, you can take the PPT, and I've shared everything, PPT and document.
I will take the PPT from the Akila ji because he is to record the session. And the second thing, Varun, I want to say that you should make a union of the of the acharyas who are doing this MARMA CHIKITSA. There's a one Nimmi ji I know very well. She is from Kerala, and she's a North Indian basically, but she's from 2-3 generations. She's living in the Kerala, and she's selling on some Ayurvedic products online and the abroad also, and she's working on the MARMA CHIKITSA.
Okay, so you are right. See, I do not know where all MARMA CHIKITSA is being practiced. I think definitely if we can document that, it will be helpful. And like I mentioned, if we want to have this system where we have a proper scientific statistical study, we need to coordinate our efforts. We cannot just do it in one place. We need multiple ashrams, multiple places where we have a coordinated effort where we document patients, and then we see after 3 months. And then that will be a good study which will shake the world. confident. But the question is, can we do that? Can we bring?
Very good.
come
A
together and-
concerted effort is required on this.
Absolutely.
We have to work on that. So,
But
Samataji,
but
Samataji,
only
what
the
is your
Ayurvedic people who are working on that.
one second?
Only they can coordinate in that.
Sriman,
Okay.
one small suggestion is there. There is one somewhere I read it in the research work where they say that if you believe in our Surya Siddhanta, there they specified about the neurons very nicely. Don't go as a typical astrology, Jyotisha Shastra. It is one of the popular Surya Siddhanta. If you read it, they will tell the period when you can give this Surya as a source. When you give the Chikitsa during the Surya Darshana and all those things, at that time, this neuron activity can be put back to the reset to the normality. I don't know. This is I read somewhere, but you can just think about this one also. This aspect.
Yeah, it's a
Thank you.
concept. As I told, concerted
Beautiful.
effort is required.
Beautiful.
Having the
Beautiful
various
given.
shastras.
Yes.
It's just an indication given to us. It's an information given to us on Marma Chikitsa now. Now the concerted effort is required by the combining all the shastras wherever is applicable on this, and a rare study is required, and it should be done by a good body of organization, and it's not an individual job. So we should try to put Mr. Varun or Bharadwaj into that type
one
of
more
group.
address
so
I
that-
can share that I'm learning.
Okay, we can share that in these
Professor-
things. Let me find out the concern of Samata. Mr. Samataji, please share
Namaste,
your opinion. Yeah.
Namaste, sir. I am an allopathic practitioner. I am a doctor practicing allopathy for the past more than 40 years.
Yeah.
So I would like youngster Mr. Varun to be not so biased about Western medicine, and maybe things can be worked out where we can have the best of all the worlds.
Absolutely.
Chemotherapy does not kill people, sir. It helps people. I worked in cancer hospital for more than 12 years. I have seen people suffer, and I have seen people get better. Those people who are dying, they have only one wish, very small wishes. Let me be alive till I get my daughter married. Let me be alive till my child goes to work. Let me be alive till my son gets a job or graduates. These things, which may seem very small to us, but chemotherapy definitely extends their lifespan. Okay. So let us not be biased about Western medicine. Western medicine has not stolen. Okay. If at all it had benefited millions and millions of people all over the world.
Yes,
I have lots of respect for Ayurveda and our traditional system of medicine. That does not mean we should run down another system of medicine just to say that we are great. I think it would be best to avoid such general views. Okay.
No, it's well taken. It's well taken. That's it.
Yeah, I am a doctor.
Our effort is to
Postgraduate surgeons is because they were not trained in, as you say, Western kind of surgery, which is prevalent and recognized. Maybe there is a way we can find out. Okay.
Absolutely.
What all you talked about is not current medicine or the relevance of modern medicine to Veda or Veda Samskruti. What we talked about was what happened earlier. If you have any proof saying that Marma Chikitsa is going to disrupt the future of medicine, I don't know how it should disrupt. Any medicine should not disrupt. It should add to the, future of medicine. It should enhance. It should enhance. Maybe you should change your
So
heading
if I may respond, is that
if I
okay?
come across as being a little harsh, it is because
No,
I
no,
have
no, no.
been in this
You are
field
very,
for so
very-
many years and I recognize the value of Western medicine. And as you rightly pointed, Ayush is not just Ayurveda. It is also Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. Okay. So that is why people objected to Ayush doctors being allowed to practice general surgery. There has to be a line drawn. And you saying that because somebody slapped somebody and they went to jail, you are saying, will any allopathy doctors go to jail? Last week, a lady doctor committed suicide because she was booked without any due inquiry for murder. So please don't say such things which, are not appropriate or, they are not well researched. I would appreciate that very much.
Samta,
I am
if I may
sorry.
allow the
I have to
response.
say this because I have been in practice for more than 40 years, maybe twice your lifetime.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, ma'am,
And
if I may be allowed a
have
response.
seen so many people benefit,
Yes.
millions and millions benefit.
Yes, yes.
Right? Let us work together, not against each other. That will be a very nice thing. I would like to see that happening.
Yes, ma'am. So
Thanks,
if I may
sir.
allow a
Great
response.
session. Great
So it
session.
is,
Let us take it positively.
Thank you, sir.
And just Varunji, please.
yes. Ma'am, you're absolutely right. In fact, please do not see this as a complaint against Western medicine itself, right? Like I mentioned, MARMA CHIKITSA's effect is slow, which means ultimately if someone is a terminal cancer patient, obviously they will have to go for chemotherapy. My point with chemotherapy was when something fails with naturopathy or with Ayurveda, people are very quick to point out, oh, look, it caused someone's death. Whereas, as you yourself pointed out, mistakes happen in Western medicine also. Yet for some reason, we do not take that as seriously, or we do not accept that our current prescriptions are also harmful. Like I mentioned,
No,
what
sir,
I am
your
saying is
mistakes, they are
disrupting.
taken very seriously. A lot of research goes into this. Multiple clinical trials go into that before a product comes out into the market. Unlike so-called Ayurvedic medicines, which are touted in the market by many companies. We don't know what research has been done. Then they immediately change it to saying it's a food product. They say it is a COVID prevention or COVID cure. And when somebody goes to court over it, they immediately change it to food product, which is not so stringent.
Anyway, the main topic here is the main, Dr. Z, please.
I agree,
please.
sir. It is not
Yes.
to criticize.
The main topic here it is what is there in our Sanskritam and whether that science is being properly exhibited or not, whether that is being properly taken care or not.
Yes,
That is how it can be exposed. That is the main thought of this.
Yes, sir.
This thing,
I very much would appreciate that, sir, that our roots go deeper and then we share all the knowledge.
That is what the main thought of it. And there is a thought now that Marma CHIKITSA is one of the roots which has got some scientific knowledge. This thing is there for this thing. And it is also a fact that Ayurveda is being killed last so many years. And without giving proper support to that, to develop that and to do the research, that fact has to be accepted by everybody.
Sir, even in anesthesia, based on the nerve, this thing and all, nerve blocks are given to stop pain and all this. So probably that also has origins in MARMA CHIKITSA only. Maybe he should explore that aspect also.
Yeah, that's correct.
If you
So
want
the
to go back,
main thrust now it is the research possibilities that are available for allopathy. At least 10% of that is not available for Ayurveda.
Yes, sir. I agree with you.
So because of that, the knowledge that is available in our Vangmayam is being killed indirectly. It is not being brought to the public. It is being brought to the public. So that proper opportunity to be given to the people, either by the government, mainly by the government and the associations of the medical bodies, to bring all types of medicinal systems into the practice for the benefit of humanity.
I agree with you, sir. That should be the aim only, not
big bars each other.
Yes,
That's not the thing. That's not the thing.
You, sir.
That's not the idea also. The idea of this committee is to bring forward the secrets of Samskrita Vangmayam into the young man's minds to do research and develop the Samskriti, our knowledge back into the fore, which was being taught few thousands of years back to the whole world. That should be brought back again. That's the main idea of it. So let us, this will close it here now. There will be so many questions will be there. Definitely the topic is such an interesting topic. There will be so many people who would like to share also. And you people can share in our group so that we can transfer to Varun. And by the way, Varun is not an Ayurvedic doctor.
No, I'm not.
He's not he's an engineer. He's brought a point out of his curiosity. So he is not the right person to be discussed whether this medicine is good or that medicine is good. And it's not. It's not.
Sir,
yeah, that,
being
so
aware of
being an engineer has brought that thing. We should appreciate him. We should appreciate efforts, and that is a good idea he has brought out. And we should all understand the importance of that Marma CHIKITSA and see how best can be utilized for the humanity. Now, let us ask Dr. Visalakshmi, our Vice President, to close the session by her Upasamharam. Mohode.
Namaste. Namaste to everybody. Today, really very wonderful talk on Marma CHIKITSA has been given by Mr. Chiranjeevi Varun Bharadwaja Kartikeya. Though he is a very young boy, he has got and though he is an engineer, in fact, he did research, in fact, with interest, we can say, on Marma CHIKITSA and brought out the roots of Marma CHIKITSA from our Vedas and our Samskrita Vangmayam, because the roots of science in Veda Vangmaya is the topic which we have taken for all the topics of research papers presented at present. And Mr. Varun Bharadwaja explained very clearly what is Marma Chikitsa, how the roots are there in our Vaidika Vangmaya and Susrutas, etc. That is our Ayurveda Shastras. And he also spoke in comparison with modern science and Ayurvedic science. In fact, originally the whole human beings, we can say the whole world, it got only Ayurveda, Ayuhu Veda. Ayurveda has come directly from God Brahma to the earth and to all human beings. And Susruta, etc., great Maharshis did a lot of research on these topics, and they spoke about the different diseases and the medicines and the ways to come out of them. And very good treatments have been given from a minor point to major ailments. So this is really a wonderful topic, we can say. This Ayurveda and Marma Chikitsa is one of the points, we can say, of Ayurveda. And he said that is Mr. Varun said that he spoke about the doshas. That is, doshas means they are not any defects, they are the changes in the body. According to Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, they say. So what are the reasons for getting any sort of disease depends upon the difference which takes place in Vata, Pitta and Kapha. That is what Ayurveda says. And he also said that rasa, that is fluid, because river Ganges is flowing. He said it is rasa. Yes, we can accept that. And then nadi, he spoke about nadis and chakras. Marma Chikitsa and Ayurveda Chikitsa certainly depend upon knowing the nadi and chakras. In the olden days, almost till 3, 4, 500, after 3, 4, 500 years only, we are getting this allopathy medicines, I think. And before that, even now there are experts who can identify and clearly say what disease is there in the body just by touching these nadis. And certainly it is there. So nadi vidya, then chakra, knowing about the chakras which exist in the body and which have the effect on us, either yogic point, yoga point of view, or medicinal point of view. This is certainly a part of Ayurveda. And we can say this Marma Chikitsa, through the Marma Chikitsa, they make, that is acupuncture, they said, they can give pressure and bring positive results in the changes of the body that occur due to some imbalance of the body. And then now taking these China people, they want this Marma Chikitsa acupuncture to be their own. It's not their own original invention. They might have developed it. They have taken it from our ancient India, Vaidika Vangmaya only. If any medicine is taken with honey, ghee, milk, etc., they have different effects on the body. Certainly this is true. And Ayurveda got the power to heal all the diseases, I believe, because that is Ayurveda, and which is the foremost and first type of treatment of diseases for the body, and keeping the body exist for more than 100 years, 120 years, which Veda has given to us. Veda said that God has given to all human beings. So we can certainly say that Marma Chikitsa, we can appreciate very much if really the importance and greatness of Marma Chikitsa and Ayurveda treatment is, that is awareness is created for this Marma Chikitsa and Ayurveda treatments among not only Indians, all human beings. They very much appreciate it because, of course, allopathy medicines heal us very immediately. Millions and millions of people are getting benefited by it, and we are all going for taking these allopathy medicines and getting treatment and operations also, and they are protecting the lives, increasing the lifespan. All these are fact. Even then, Ayurveda goes into the roots and deep into the roots of the causes of the disease and removes the causes of diseases. So permanently it will be healed. So that is the greatness. Whereas in allopathy, it does not exist, I believe. It's not there. Temporarily, definitely will get benefited, but it's only temporarily. We cannot say it will not recur. Whereas in Ayurveda, when once the full treatment is taken completely under the guidance of a proper Ayurveda doctor who knows well and mastered the science of Ayurveda, then certainly forever that disease will be removed from the body and the person will be very healthy and hale. So that is what I feel. And Srimati Swamini Sadvidyananda gave very good suggestions, and I thank her also. And also the great person of our Veda Samskruti Samiti members, Sri, what is his name? I'm not getting.
Rajagopal.
Rajagopala garu. Yes, Rajagopala garu. He gave very good suggestions, and also he spoke about Ashtanga Hridaya, which speaks about the oils and have, yes, certainly oils have very good impact on either knee pains or joint pains or so many, even hair fall, for everything. I think there are so many different oils in Ayurveda, and them we can take. And then he gave very good suggestions also for our today's main speaker. So with the proper knowledge only, one should go for the treatment. He said, yes, that is correct. Taking the permission of the parents and the person who is undergoing the treatment and government permission, everything are needed for treatment. And today I specially congratulate, bless, and really appreciate Mr. Varun Bharadwaja Kartikeya's this lecture on MARMA CHIKITSA, and the title he has taken is MARMA CHIKITSA, Potential to Disrupt Future of Medicines. That means he might have got the concept in his mind and confidence fully that if people become aware of Ayurveda and MARMA CHIKITSA, the part of Ayurveda, certainly again Ayurveda will prevail all over the world, and then at that time the allopathy medicines, the importance of using of allopathy medicines may get reduced. So in that point, that disrupt word is okay. In fact, we can say as Dr. Savi,
Samata.
her name Dr.
Samata.
Samata madam, yes, Dr. Samata also gave very good suggestions, and because she has practiced more than 48 years of service, means she is very older and greater, and we all should respect her and honor her words, because she is allopathic doctor and treated millions of people and gave good health for them. Health is wealth, in fact. So she got such confidence in her profession, and then allopathy. There is nothing wrong when she said allopathy is great. And also she accepted that allopathy should, Ayurveda or chemotherapy or whatever may be this MARMA CHIKITSA, and allopathy should go side by side, and one should be complementary to others. Yes, that is correct. Always any point of research should be complementary to another point of view of research. Yes, that is correct. So I thank Dr. Samata also for her good suggestions. And then I thank I thank our Veda Samskruti Samiti for organizing such good webinars. And I thank very much for giving me this opportunity to just speak about, that is, express my own ideas also about the speaker's lecture. I thank our president of Veda Samskruti Samiti, Sri Akala Prabhakara Rao garu, for being kind enough to ask me to conclude this session. Thank you, sir, very much. And thank one and all who participated very enthusiastically in our seminars and webinars. Thank you.
Dhanyavada. With this topic closes. The next topic is Dr. Ratnam Challa. She will be talking about Surya Siddhanta, and that we will take up. This will close here. Swatiji, please close this